by 1, and then we shall also divide by -2 plus 1. So this one is going to reduce, and you need to simplify your answer. Don't forget to include your C whenever you are doing integration. And that's an area most of the students forget to include that constant, and that is going to attract a deduction of 1 mark. So make sure you are keen to details when you are preparing for your exams, and ensure you know how to perform integration expressions like this one. The next expression we're going to look at, of course, this one we can be able to simplify it further so that we can be able to go to the next one. We have the figure that shows a sketch of curve C. We have curve C, which is a quadratic, and then we have a straight line that passes through the origin and the point M. Now, that is the equation we have for the quadratic, which is y equals to 4 plus 12x minus 3x squared. Then the next question here, we are supposed to write this expression that we have in the form a plus b into x plus c squared. So we are going to use completing square method, and whenever you are using completing square method, you are going to group these terms, and then we are going to factor out -3. So we shall factor out -3 in this case, and we shall have our equation being 4 minus 3 into x squared plus 4 minus 4x, because if you multiply -3 times -4, that becomes +12. So that is it. And then according to the process of completing the square, we are going to introduce the block brackets, and we shall take x minus a half of this number 4, and then we shall subtract the square of 2 there, and then we can simplify expression, which is shall become +12. Then 4 plus 12 give us 16. Then we shall have -3 into x minus 2 squared. So this is the completed square form of this. Now, once you have completed the square, you need to know where does it help you. Whenever you have completed a square of this form, remember this can give you a turning point, and the turning point in this case is going to become,
It's selected 315. Checked. Okay, we're gonna go slow.
35 attended by Foxtrot Charlie from Marshall again.
Foxy Charlie, Marshall, Tanzania 135.
Little star. 3000. Coordinate set. Gear down.
Gear down.
16 becomes the y coordinate, and the -2 there, we take the opposite sign to be the x coordinate of the turning point. So we are going to write the coordinate of M, and M, remember, it was a turning point. So which will mean that our coordinate M, we shall take +2 there for x. M becomes 2, 16 like that. Now, the line L1 passes through the origin and M, so meaning we have the two coordinates where line L1 passes. So which will mean that yeah, it passes through this point 2, 16, and also it passes through this point 0, 0. So we can be able to find the gradient of L1, right? So we can be able to find the gradient of L1. Gradient of L1, remember, gradient is change in y over change in x. So meaning we are going to subtract like that, and the gradient becomes 8. Now, let's look at what we are told. Line L1 passes through this point OM, and line 2 touches C and is parallel to L1. So what does L1 has in common with L2? They have the same gradient, because they are saying that they are parallel. So if lines are parallel, they have the same gradient. So which will mean that we can say this is y equals to mx plus c, but we can now use our c, we say just a constant, which we don't know, right? And also we are told that it touches c. If it touches c, it means it's a tangent to c. Okay, it touches c. So if it's touching c, then we can be able to equate this equation y equals to 8x plus k to the quadratic equation so that we can solve them simultaneously. Once we solve them simultaneously, we are going to work out the discriminant, and the discriminant will be equal to 0. If a line is touching a curve at one specific point, it means the discriminant is equal to 0. So which means we are going to equate the quadratic and the straight line that we have said, which is y equals to 8x plus k, then we are going to form a single quadratic equation that we have at this given point. And since it touches, we can be able to say the discriminant is equals to 0. Discriminant in this case will be 0. And remember, discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Then we shall say that is equals to 0. And if you're getting value from this particular video, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to upload a tutorial, you'll be notified. This prediction is beta prediction. There was alpha prediction, and you can make the best of preparation of your coming exam if you have watched both of the two videos, so that you know that those topics that were not in the previous, not in this video, they are in the previous video. So there is a link in the description that will take you straight to the alpha prediction of P1. So let us now proceed so that we can be able to work out the discriminant. And working out the discriminant, you can see if we put the like terms together and simplify this, our k is going to translate to 4 over 3 plus 4, which definitely becomes 16 over 3 as our final answer. All right, I believe you have understood. We can now write the equation of L2 because we have already gotten what the value of k is. And then now we can move on to the next topic, which I think that you really need to prepare. You need to know how to work with Surds. You need to know how to work with indices as much as you are preparing for this particular exam. But here I have a question that says simplify 1 over 4 minus 2 root 2 and give your answer in the form a plus b root 2, where a and b are rational numbers. So which will mean that you need to rationalize the denominator. And to rationalize the denominator, remember we multiply by the conjugate. A conjugate, you only change the sign of the denominator. Remember we were having 4 minus 2 root 2. Then now our conjugate will be 4 plus 2 root 2. Now multiplying everything and ensuring that you are very, very careful and keen the way you are multiplying, then it will mean that our expression is going to be written like this. So we shall write 4 plus 2 root 2. Now denominator, 4 times 4 will give us 16. Then we have 4 times 2 root 2 will give us 8 root 2. Then minus 2 root 2 times 4 will be minus 8 root 2, right? And then minus 2 root 2 times positive 2 root 2, this is going to give us 2 times 2 will give us 4, and root 2 times root 2 will give us 2. Then it will be giving us minus 8 at this point. So the middle terms basically cancels out, and then we are going to have our expression reducing to 16 minus 8, which is 8. And now we can see 4 divided by 8 is 1 over 2, and 2 over 8 is going to be 1 over 4 root 2, like that. So this is the expression that we were supposed to get in this particular part. Now, hence otherwise questions mean whatever you have gotten from the previous section, you are going to use it to work out the next section. So if you look at the expression that was given down here, it means we are going to put the x on one side. We are going to put those terms with x on one side. And when we do that, we are going to factor out, yes, so I'm going to factor out x and then divide both sides by 4 minus 2 root 2. And this is exactly what I'm going to get. And if you can look at the expression that we are having here, is somehow related to what we were having in the previous part if we factor out 20 root 2. Now, we have rationalized the denominator of 1 over 4 minus 2 root 2, and we got our answer in part A to be 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4 root 2. So we are going to replace this part that is in bracket in part B with whatever we got in part A, and this is going to translate to, if we open the bracket, we are going to have our expression reducing to this.
Introducing Flexi 2.0, the world's most powerful AI tutor. You want better grades, but you're busy.
Okay. Yes, so basically that's what we're going to get. Remember, we were told giving you answer in the form p plus q root 2, and you can see our p is 10 and our q is also 10 there. Okay. Okay, so we need to move to the next part and to see which are the topics that is quite important for you to prepare. Remember, I'm just giving you the most probable topics that you may be able to be tested. So as much as you are preparing, ensure that you understand this concept that I'm talking about here. Take them seriously as if your life depends on it. So we're going to solve simultaneous equations that involve a linear and a quadratic. So we're going to substitute anywhere we have y, we're going to substitute 3x plus 4, and we're going to substitute into this quadratic that is down here, which will mean that we are going to expand them and then put the like terms together, and you realize that we are going to have a quadratic in terms of x. So once you have put the like terms together and simplified everything, you'll have a single quadratic equation, which is 10x squared plus 18x minus 4 equals to 0. So you are going to solve again this quadratic equation that we have. So solving these quadratic equations, we'll get the values of x, which will mean once we get the values of x, we are going to substitute them. We are going to substitute them into y equals to 3x plus 4, so that we can be able to get also the value of y. So solving x here, we are going to get the value of x being -2 or x being equals to 1 over 5. Then once we have the two values of x, we are going to substitute them into y is equals to 3x plus 4, and basically this is going to translate to -2, and the second part, when we're substituting 0.2, we're going to get 4.6. Now we have solved the simultaneous equations because we have pairs of values of x and pairs of values of y. Moving to the next question, here is we are talking about differentiation, and then you need to know how to find a gradient from a function. Need to know how to differentiate, that's what I mean. And then you need to know how to find the equation of the tangent to the curve, and you need to know how to find the equation of the normal to the curve. So we were given the gradient function f prime of x, already it's differentiated. So for you to find the equation of the normal, first you need to find the gradient of the curve. And to find the gradient of the curve, we were told the function y equals to f of x passes through which point? It passes through the point 4, 1. So the x coordinate there is 4. We are going to substitute it into the gradient function here. So we are going to evaluate f of prime of x at x equals to 4. meaning that we're substituting. Anywhere we have x, we're going to substitute 4. Then we simplify that, then we are going to get the gradient of the function at that point for 1. So once we have the gradient of the function, we know that we are told to find the equation of the normal. If it was the equation of the tangent, it means we were to use 35/6 as the gradient of the tangent. But now, since we're talking of the gradient of the normal, it means, since we're talking about the equation of the normal, we need to know that a normal and a tangent meet at 90 degrees, so they are perpendicular. That means that we need to use m1 times m2 in order to find the gradient of the normal. So m1 times m2 must give us -1 because they are perpendicular, which will mean that our m2 is going to be -6/35. Now, since we are talking about a normal that is passing through this point for 1, we can now use that point and the equation of the form y equals mx plus c, which is the equation of the